I'm going to start this video off with a rapid-fire description of exactly what this thing is and what it's capable of. If you miss something, don't worry about it. I'm going to get into all of that in a whole lot more detail, and hopefully this answers any burning questions you might have going in. The Novation Circuit Rhythm is a standalone, portable sampler, music production station, and live performance instrument. It has 8 sampler tracks that are mono and monophonic, although you can switch between multiple sounds on each track. You can load in sounds with the free editor, record sounds directly into the circuit, or resample what the circuit is playing. Each pack has a frustratingly low amount of sample time, but you can load in multiple packs if you insert a micro SD card. From there, you can map samples to a keyboard or chop them up and process sounds with envelopes, distortion, sidechain, the same reverb and delay as the original circuit, and grid effects. The workflow on this thing is lightning fast and incredibly intuitive and fun, while still giving you enough power to really dial in your sound. It has a rechargeable internal battery, a headphone jack, stereo ins and outs, MIDI in, out, and through, and MIDI over USB, but unfortunately no multi-track audio over USB. All that being said, let's get into it. A lot of us have really been looking forward to the Circuit Rhythm ever since it was announced, and I think it was well worth the wait. Barring a few omissions and compromises, it gives me pretty much everything I want out of a circuit. I do want to mention that Novation sent me a pre-release unit to try out, but they had no ability to dictate any of the content in this video. I've been a hardcore circuit user for years, and so I'm predisposed to like this thing, but I'll try to stay as objective as possible and just know I am not trying to sell you anything. Except, of course, for my $5 sample pack formatted for all 3 circuits, link in the description. The Novation Circuit Rhythm is the 3rd circuit groovebox. Like the others, it's battery-powered, super portable, and built to work entirely without a computer. Unlike the original and its sibling, the Circuit Tracks, however, this circuit is entirely sample-based. At their core, samples actually behave quite a bit like they do on the original circuit and the Circuit Tracks, with a few notable, huge upgrades, like playing samples across a keyboard and sample chopping, which I'll get into in a little bit. Stereo samples get collapsed down to mono, and each track can only play 1 sample at a time. Although you can switch between multiple samples on each track. It might seem kind of limiting to be able to play only 1 sound at a time on each track, but having 8 of them that all behave the same more than makes up for it. If you're strategic in the kind of samples you load in and then make smart use of each track and your mixing tools, you can build up tracks with a lot of stuff going on. You can load in samples via the online or software editor, which is easy enough to use, or you can record sounds directly into your circuit rhythm. Personally, I've been feeding mine a steady diet of microfreak and model cycles sounds, and then distorting them to hell and back and making loud, annoying beats with it. The biggest frustration you'll run into when loading sounds onto the Circuit Rhythm is sample time. You only get 222 seconds of sample time per pack at the time that I'm recording this, and that gets eaten up pretty fast, especially if you're trying to build up a pack that's pretty versatile and has some sounds that last a while. The thing that makes that suck a bit less is that you can load multiple packs onto the Circuit Rhythm and switch between them if you insert a micro SD card. Once you've loaded sounds in, you have a lot of control over how they behave. You can let it ring out like this, you can set it to be gated, so it'll only hold down as long as you play it. You can set it to loop or to reverse. Wait for it. And you've got effects built into each track, including tune, start point, end point, slope, which is like an envelope, distortion, which I always use way too much of, filters, and resonance. And like I mentioned earlier, you can do a lot more with samples than just play one-shots. You can map samples across a keyboard, And by and large, that actually sounds pretty clean, and it will change the speed of your sample with pitch. You can also chop up samples, and the workflow for that is super clean and streamlined. So you go to sample mode, select slice, select how you want it to be divided, and then you can override that and set your sample points manually. You can also set different lengths and start points, and of course change the pitch of everything. And from there, record in some proper chops. This makes really good use of the pads are the screen approach, and that's not the only case of it. Overall, the user interface on the Circuit Rhythm is really well dialed in and blazing fast to use. I've always loved the Circuit workflow, and this might just be the cleanest, most fun to use iteration of it. Everything is clearly labeled and only a button press or two away, and it can easily become muscle memory. When using a circuit, you sacrifice a little bit of sound quality to gain a better user experience at a lower price. It's kind of the opposite of Roland's shtick. Roland seems to love to design super modern sound engines with a ton of features and then cram them into devices with kind of janky, antiquated, clunky interfaces. Whereas Novation seems to lean a bit more on slightly older, more limited sound engines, but accompanies those with bleeding edge user interfaces. That being said, if you can't get something that sounds great out of a Circuit Rhythm, you're not trying hard enough. And with 8 tracks and a whole lot of sonic flexibility, it's really not that hard. And if you accept that slight hit to sound quality, you've got probably the closest thing to a standalone Machine Micro on your hands. You can even get into a view that lays out all of your tracks in a pad formation like this, so you can play everything as one-shots. But each of these still functions as a track, so once you've come up with kind of an overall part, you can jump in to really dialing in each individual track, including note mode and stuff like that, like I've already shown. That's pretty similar to the Machine Micro workflow, and one of the things that makes it so inspiring for me, and that's here. And much like the other circuits, the Circuit Rhythm is a fantastic performance instrument. It's got the same clip launching functionality as a Launchpad, and you've got multiple levels of clips. So you've got all of your individual patterns on each individual track. You can chain them together. And it's got scenes which contain combinations of patterns, so you can switch between different musical sections. And of course, we have the grid effects, which are completely new to the Circuit Rhythm. Which are really easy to abuse. And take way too far. There are a bunch of different types built into this thing. And of course, the master filter. Overall, if you're new to hardware or new to hip-hop or electronic music production in general, this is a great place to start. It's got the intuitive interface, it's versatile, and it gives you enough room to really grow into. And if you are an existing circuit user, this just might be the Circuit 2 that we've all really been hoping for, as much as I do love the Circuit tracks. It's got the expanded sound palette, more tracks, the ability to map samples to a keyboard, sample chopping, and record in. It's even got the ability to pitch samples around chromatically by holding down Shift, which we've been asking for, and kind of a version of patch flip, because you can switch between different samples on any given track, like I mentioned before, and have a melody play under that. The main limitations that we'll run into are the monophonic sample tracks and the pretty short sample time. One of these days, I would love to see Novation release a Circuit Rhythm Pro that adds stereo sampling and multi-track audio out over USB, but this is more than enough to keep me busy for quite a while. My name is Gabe Miller. This has been my Circuit Rhythm review. Thank you so much for watching.